G'day everyone, welcome to On The Wire. I'm Warren Davies, the Unbreakable Farmer, and today my special guest on The Wire is Martene Wallace. Martene is the founder of the Sista. She's an entrepreneur, a speaker and a coach. Welcome to On The Wire, Martene. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad that you could come on today. So we'll jump straight into it and just find out a little bit more about, I suppose, the Sista and the Martene Wallace story. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, so the Sista was a bit of a deviation from what my original plan was. Growing up in regional Australia, northern New South Wales, I was always taught that you had to go to school, you got a job, got a trade, and you worked forever. And when I finished school, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. And I fell into dental nursing, which led to me becoming a nurse. A registered nurse, worked in the health system for 15 years. I'm also a mum of 3 kids, 9, 6 and 4. So, and now actually a network marketing professional. So I get to work alongside my husband, which has its advantages and disadvantages, which he'll agree. So we get to spend a lot of time together, but essentially following my gut and going after and, what makes me happy instead of conforming to what I think, society thinks I should do has, led me to be here where I am today.
Yeah, so that's, I suppose, creating change in your life, and that's one of the topics that I like to talk about on The Wire is either overcoming adversity or creating change, and you've obviously created a change in your life. What got you to the stage that nursing wasn't for you anymore and you wanted to try something different?
Yeah, well, it was, I'd always loved nursing. I loved helping people and people, when I did decide to make the change, and it's funny, what people don't understand, they diss and put down, and what people understand, they tend to lift up. Now, I looked like we had everything going on, 3 healthy kids. I was working at the time as a clinical nurse manager. I had 75% of my master's done, but I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. And the change for me was I was rostered on my son's first birthday on an evening shift. No one could swap, and I missed it. I worked most of my nursing in intensive care, and I know life's short and it can be changed in an instant. And a lot of people don't ever think of that someday. And Susan Sly, network marketing professional, she's a phenomenal woman, talks about someday. And so many people don't actually live their someday because they spend their whole time on that hamster wheel, not actually doing stuff that makes them happy. So that got me really thinking about, what do I want to do? If I've got to do this for the next 40 years of my life, that's not living. There's got to be so much more to life. And I had been using a product that's part of a network marketing company, telling people about it. So I was being paid. I just didn't understand the concept of the profession. I actually thought it was for people who couldn't get jobs, and I felt sorry for people that had to do it. And it was just, I didn't understand. Anyway, I decided that I was going to do it, and the amount of, negative feedback around me, oh my God, you're a nurse manager, you have a government job, like, who gives a shit? If you're not happy, what's the point? And I just followed my gut, followed my heart. And what it's led to 3 years on, it's completely changed our life beyond anything that we ever thought possible. And it was just sort of having that courage. And any entrepreneur, anyone doing anything in life, they've just got to have that courage to take that first step, because too many people wait for that perfect moment. It's never going to be perfect. And it's just that having the courage to go for it and go after your passion and what makes you happy.
Yeah, and not just sitting back and just accepting the norm. Like obviously you set your mind on nursing early on, but it doesn't have to always stay like that. And that's what I've found in my life. Like, I was a dairy farmer for most of my life, and now I'm a speaker. It took a lot of courage to make that change. Obviously, there was a few things that happened along the way that made it a little bit easier, but it takes a lot of courage to completely change course. Like, and that's what I've done, is like I've changed course, and some people look at me, and especially as you can relate to, coming from a regional town, they kind of look at you funny, as if to say, like, you've lost your marbles, like, what are you doing? Like, you know, it's good jobs out there, but you know, it's if you're not happy, it's hard to continue. Like, or there's no satisfaction, and I get satisfaction out of doing what I'm doing now, and the same as yourself, by the sounds of it, just by hopefully helping people. And that's, I go, and when I do a speech, if I can help one person, I've done my job. I don't have to connect with everyone that's in the audience, but if I've helped one person, I've done my job for the night or the day or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just tell us a little bit about that journey then, of that change of moving out of nursing and into your new profession, and what you had to, you know, what strengths did you have to draw on, and did you draw on any strengths from your nursing? Like, I spoke to a guy the other day whose interview will be coming up in the next few days. He was in the army and then had a terrible accident. And what got him through basically was the discipline and the strengths that he was taught in the army was what helped him recover, and now thriving as a wheelchair athlete. Like, but he reckons he puts it all down to the discipline that he learnt in the army. So what disciplines did you then transfer from nursing into your network marketing business?
Well, I believe that everything's that's happened to me my entire life has sort of put me in the right position, and I truly believe that I've found my calling and what I'm doing. To get up in the morning, or having the flexibility to do it whenever I want, and having that complete freedom is massive for me. Not having that grind of shift work, being told when I need to be at work and when I can have time off. I played sport as my whole life, as long as I could. I was dragged to sport when I was in the womb, and I was pretty much around it my whole life. And I believe that not only nursing but sport had the perfect platform, and you know, that's why I think all kids should play some sport, just to teach them teamwork, winning, losing. And you know, if you want to be the best at anything, you've got to train. So you've got to work hard, and you've got to have that consistency, and you've got to turn up. So for me, I went into, when I was 16, I actually got a scholarship at a sports high school in Sydney. And my dad said to me that you're not going. And the day he said that to me, I was going, and I went and told Mum, and nothing was going to stop me. So I packed up. I've always been extremely determined and headstrong. Packed up, moved to Sydney, and lived down there for a year. And, you know, another example again, I decided soccer wasn't fun anymore. And I was also playing at the Institute of Sport in Sydney. And I was playing with the Matildas, and I was kind of looking at them thinking, is that what I want for my life? And, you know, the reality is, yes, they get to play soccer, but they're one injury away from ending their career, and they don't have a lot of financial backing behind them. It's just something that sucks about women's sport. There's not as many opportunity opposed to if you're a male, which is another thing that annoys me. And hopefully as society, you know, as we grow as a society, that there'll be more opportunity for girls and women to have that equal pay. Fast forward, you know, overcoming all those people that tell you that you can't do it. There was that resistance that I was walking away from soccer because I had, you know, scholarships. I had everything, that path planned out, but I just decided it wasn't making me happy anymore. It wasn't fun. And, you know, it's something that we've believed our whole life. If you're not happy doing what you're doing, change it. Otherwise, you're just going to make all the people around you miserable and, you know, just live in a place where no one, you know, really has fun or has even the option to step into their full potential. Nursing, as a nurse, you love helping people. If you don't like helping people, you should not be a nurse. And a lot of people, you don't nurse necessarily for the income. And there's something, and you touched on it with what you just shared, there's something, when you help someone, and working in ICU, you know, that's when people are, it's their darkest hour, the most vulnerable time. If you can make that time a little bit easier for the family, you know, for the patient, it's extremely rewarding. And the skills that I learned that compassion, serving. As a nurse, often I'll liken it to as a servant. And it was a big adjustment when I first got into nursing. I would get home and someone would ask me to do something. I'd be like, oh my God, can't you do it yourself? Because that all day you're just giving, and it can be quite a skill and something that you have to, grow that personal development to get used to. So definitely that looking after a team and really just supporting people and empowering them to take responsibility for their life and then to step into their potential. So absolutely, so many different skills.
Yeah. And it's amazing that through the interviews that I've done, that common theme of helping people is something that's is shining out with everyone that I interview. Doesn't matter what they're doing now, it's that common theme of helping people is coming through nearly in every conversation that I'm having. So it's a very a vital part. So tell us a little bit about obviously. Like the Success Sista, how did that come about? Then did that evolve from your network marketing, or and obviously then becoming a speaker and a coach? How did that all evolve?
Yeah, it's definitely been. If I was still nursing, I would be stuck inside that box big time, just doing that grind and not having any courage to do anything else, basically. So the Success Sista come out of doing Trav's course, and it's something that I didn't really. It's going to be something that evolves, but the long-term sort of vision is to empower people to go after what makes them happy, and really just becoming the best version of themselves, following their passion. Because if everyone did what makes them happy and didn't listen to the opinions of people that, I was fortunate enough to see John Addison speak live. He's got an amazing leadership book. And he says, never take advice from people more broke or screwed up than you.
Yep.
And it's something that we see, in our life every day, people offering advice when, really those people don't have any sort of skill or experience to be offering advice in that area.
It's funny that you say that. I always got told this by a guy who was an investor on the Sunshine Coast, and he does sail close to the wind and all that, but he goes, how can you accept advice from an accountant? He goes, because if they were any good at what they were doing, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing.
And there's a lot of truth in that.
Or the first question you should ask an accountant is, how many investment properties do you have? And if their answer is none, they're not going to be any good for you.
Absolutely. And, we were always telling people, take advice from people who have what you want or are doing what you want to do, because they're going to, and every successful person, if you reach out to someone that you admire and, if you can get any time around them, or the successful people will share what's worked for them and, can carve a lot of time off your success. And the Success Sista come about, I had the opportunity to speak in front of 20,000 people, and I was completely, in my pants, because, that was a big jump for me. And I talk in front of large groups all the time, but it's within our community, so it's a really safe place. So this was in Vegas in front of 20,000 people at an event with Richard Branson and Tony Roberts. So it was my 2018 goal, and I classify it as like the World Cup of soccer.
Yeah.
For me, if I made that, I felt like I'd made it in our profession. Now, I wasn't ready to be on that stage as a speaker, as a network marketing professional, as anything, but I did it anyway. I had to have the courage. Now, I walked off and I beat myself up because it didn't quite go how I imagined it would in my head. And I got out there for a second and I even froze. And it was, I watched it back 3 or 4 days later, and I'm like, it wasn't even that bad, but we just naturally are our biggest critic and just beat ourselves up. So it was massive growth for me to do that. And I just want to help empower people within our community. I get a lot of people reaching out for help that I'm not able to help on a one-on-one basis, and people broader in our profession. And it's a way that I can give back and help and share, whatever's in my head at the time, and a lesson I've learned that might create value for someone else. And people, it's a way that people can connect with me and a way that I can give back.
So you just touched on, and that's another theme of people that I've interviewed. And that, so there was obviously that fear of speaking on a stage in front of lots and lots of people. How have you overcome? What strategies do you use now to overcome that fear? Obviously, and sometimes it's you can hide it well too, but it's you've overcome that fear by the sound of it. You sound very confident and all that. So what strategies did you use to overcome that fear? Because that why I want you to share that is those strategies could be translated to anybody that's like fear, got some blockage, like something that's holding them back. And obviously, or not obviously, but most of the time it is fear that holds most people back. So what strategies did you use to overcome that?
Well, and I work with a lot of people that have, like, the number one fear in the world is public speaking. So yeah. I work with a lot of people and help them overcome that. And often it's just the bullshit story that we're telling ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
People just, and so it's that reprogramming. And for me, it was just the courage. If your reason for doing it is strong enough, and anyone that, is being held back, they might just need to tap in a bit deeper as to why they're doing it. Because if your reason for doing it is big enough, you will find a way. And it's practice. But when I first started speaking in front of people, it was all right. I was passionate. I was excited. I said about 1,000 times in every 20 minutes. But the more I did it, the better and better I got. And it's the same as anything you do in life. You look at kids, how many times do they fall down while they're trying to learn to walk?
Yeah.
They don't quit. They just keep getting up. They walk. Even when they're talking, we tell them to sit down and be quiet constantly, but they don't listen. And if everyone took on that childlike mentality, the world would just be a better place. So it's just having that courage and practicing. I still remember, and I shared this story. I remember my first day as a trainee enrolled nurse when I was on prac, and I had to wash my first patient. I was in a nursing home. Thing I've ever done, and by the end of my nursing career I could manage a whole ward and look after a patient in ICU. So when you first start something, you've got to accept that you're going to be bad at it for long enough to get good at it. But the more you practice, and it's just feeling the fear and doing it anyway, and the amount of people that you'll inspire by having the courage to go after what you want to do, and you will have a story that will touch someone and change someone's life and give them the courage to do the same. And so it just comes back to the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah, and that's exactly that point that I said at the start. Like, if it only takes one person to affect or have a positive effect on one person in your audience, that's you've done your job. Like, and that's the way I go on stage, because some of the stuff that I talk about is fairly, like it can be fairly confronting. But if that story helps, or the strategies that I share helps one person, well, it's made it all worth it, well and truly worth it. Tell me, we'll wrap it up shortly, but I've got a couple of questions for you. What is the best book that you've ever read? What book is a book that's had the most influence on you? Or
it would be.
Go on, sorry. No, you're right. Go on.
It would be The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And that's a book. And depending, like, for a general audience, that is the book. If you read it and apply it, it will change your life. And it's, Jack Canfield, The Success Principles. Yep.
And another question, and you've probably answered this a little bit because of your background, like with sport and all that, but what advice would the current day Martene give a younger version Martene? What advice would you give her today?
Oh, just do shit that makes you happy, and don't worry about what other people think of you. If you're being a good human and doing the right thing by people, and the other thing is, you can't save anyone that doesn't want to save themselves. Love them anyway.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy.
No, that's perfect. Well done. That's how I feel too. Like you've got to help yourself to help others, and vice versa. So with the Success Sister, where can people find you? Have you got a web page, Facebook? Where's the best place to catch up if people want to look you up?
Yeah, people want to look me up. It's a Success Sister with an A, so it's a bit gangster.
Yeah.
It's SISTA, Instagram and Facebook. There is a web page in development currently, successsister.com or Martene Wallace. And a lot of families, because I guess I love what network marketing enables to do. It's average, ordinary people to have, be, or do anything they want. There's no limits on it. And the better you get within yourself and the better person you become, the more successful you can be. And it's all about helping other people. So it's sort of our life as we live it. You can follow my personal page at Martene Wallace on Facebook as well. And if you want more coaching sort of side of things, my husband is Boss Wallace, so he also has a page where he does videos with trainings and stuff like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Martene, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure having you on, and I hope everyone that has been watching got a little bit out of what you've told us, and of your journey of overcoming your fears and becoming the person that you wanted to be, and having the courage to step outside something that you thought that you'd started for a lifetime career but moved on.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. And I love what you're doing with all the farmers and, what you're getting out there. So absolute pleasure.
Good on you. All right. Thank you very much for that. And thanks for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to catching up with you down the track sometime.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.